It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 10th day of September 2021. What's up this morning? Hurricane Larry takes aim at Newfoundland. Landfall for Hurricane Olaf. Is it safe to fly today? Msc Divina approved to sail. Disney schedule changes. Former princess ship gets new life. Carnival home test approved. Baltimore restart. Jamaica elevated to level 4. Princess delays. Hawaii restarts. And a bunch more. Man, we got a busy show this morning. So how's everybody today? Don't forget, folks, if you're out and about in anywhere near Virginia, that tomorrow is from 12 to 3 down at Yorktown at the Waterman's Festival is the annual Oyster Fest. I wish I was going. Sister and brother-in-law are jumping in the Love Shack this morning and heading down to Yorktown. They'll be there tomorrow. So I'm going to miss out on it, unfortunately, but that's neither here nor there. As far as the pulmonology appointment yesterday, because I know you had some questions about that, I got all glowing reports from the doctor. He's all good with me being able to go on a cruise as soon as I can get this portable unit in and it works properly. Now, it still hasn't come yet, so I haven't tested it. But he says I'm good to go as long as the cruise lines agree with it and the airlines agree with it, and et cetera, et cetera. So that part was a good sign. My lungs sounded great. I'm allowed to turn the oxygen back a little further. So I'm going from 3 liters now, which I started at 5 liters back when we started this mess. I'm down to 3 liters now. I can go back to 2.5 as long as I don't get any additional shortness of breath. So that was pretty cool. Of course, today marks the start of my 73rd year on this planet. I want to thank all of you guys for the birthday greetings and wishes yesterday. It's so appreciated. And it's fun when you're getting birthday greetings literally from around the world, and that's the way it's become for me. So I thank all of you guys for all the greetings and so forth. Now, let's get started because this just changed literally 2 or 3 minutes ago because what was Mindy is now dissipated. They weren't counting on Mindy dissipating until tomorrow, but she's gone. So the new map from the National Hurricane Center, and that, of course, still the main thing to deal with is Hurricane Larry. Hurricane Larry expected to bring hurricane force winds, a dangerous storm surge, and heavy rainfall to southeastern Newfoundland tonight. You know, I don't ever remember talking about Newfoundland on Travel and Cruise Industry News before this week. Maybe I have, but I just don't remember it. The Canadian Hurricane Center has extended the tropical storm warning along the southern coast of southeastern Newfoundland westward to Francois and along the northern coast of southeastern Newfoundland to Fogo Island. The center of Larry was located approximately 650 miles south-southwest of Cape Race, Newfoundland. Larry is moving toward the north-northeast about 26 miles an hour, so she's hauling butt pretty well. A turn to the northeast with a further increase in forward speed is expected today. The center of Larry will pass well southeast of Nova Scotia and then move over southeastern Newfoundland tonight. Maximum sustained winds are about 85 miles an hour now with higher gusts. It's expected to weaken during the next day or two, but Larry could still remain a hurricane until it hits Newfoundland. So, Larry should become an extratropical cyclone tomorrow and is now forecast to be absorbed by a large system near Greenland by the end of the weekend. Larry still remains a large storm system. Hurricane force winds extend out 90 miles from the center. Tropical force winds extend out 240 miles. Minimum pressure is 968 millibars. So it's still, I mean, it's got room to strengthen some if it gets the right water conditions and right shear conditions. All right, down in the first of the two orange X's, if you want to call them orange, the northern portion of a tropical wave is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms near Honduras, the western Caribbean Sea, and portions of the Yucatan. System is forecast to move into the Bay of Campeche and merge with pre-existing surface trough located over the southwestern Gulf of Mexico by this weekend. Environmental conditions are expected to be conducive to support some gradual development, and a tropical depression is likely to form Sunday or maybe Monday. This you got to watch, folks, all along the Texas Gulf Coast, the Louisiana Gulf Coast, the Alabama Gulf Coast, all on around to the Florida Big Bend, because who knows where this is going to go, and who knows how strong it's going to get. It could get to a hurricane. We don't know. It could be a tropical storm. We're just going to have to see when it gets across the Yucatan there and gets into the bay and then into some warm waters in the Gulf. So who knows? They're saying now 40% chance of development in the next 48 hours and 70% chance over the next 5 days. So all you guys on the Gulf Coast, keep an eye out for this one. Then over there, right on the coast of Africa, a strong tropical wave expected to emerge off to the west of Africa by tonight. Environmental conditions are forecast to be conducive for gradual development thereafter, and a tropical depression is likely to form late this weekend or early next week. The system will move west-northwestward over the far eastern Atlantic near the Cabo Verde Islands. So Cabo Verde Islands need to monitor the progress of the system. And as we get on toward the Leeward Islands, Bermuda, both, we've got to see what direction this thing's going to go, because you can't tell yet. They're talking about 48 hours, 50% chance of further strengthening, 70% chance of the next 5 days. Wow. So that's the Atlantic. So we're looking at 3 storms now, and thankfully we got rid of one just this morning. So out on the Pacific side of things, we got 2 to look at. Olaf, Hurricane Olaf is straddling the southeastern coast of Baja California Sur. Hurricane force winds and heavy rains continue over southern portions of that area. The government of Mexico has changed the hurricane warning to a tropical storm warning south of Todos Santos and south of Los Barriles. The last readings I had, the center of Hurricane Olaf was located almost right over La Paz. Olaf is moving toward the northwest at about 13 miles an hour. This motion is expected to continue today and turn to the west at a slower forward speed on tomorrow, followed by a turn toward the southwest on Sunday. The center of Olaf will move along the southwestern coast of Baja Sur today and then turn westward away from land by tonight. Maximum sustained winds have decreased to about 85 miles an hour with higher gusts. Olaf is forecast to remain a hurricane while it moves along the southwestern coast of Baja California Sur today. Expected to start weakening to a tropical storm by tonight when it begins to move away from land and then degenerate to a protropical cyclone by Saturday night. Hurricane force winds extend about 20 miles from the center. Tropical force winds about 80 miles. So it's not that big a storm, but the pressure is 981, so it's under 1,000, so you got to keep an eye on it. Then the one over there closest to actually the backside of Honduras, I guess, disorganized showers and thunderstorms near the Pacific coast of Central America and the adjacent waters are associated with the southern portion of a tropical wave. A broad area of low pressure is expected to form along the wave south of the southern coast of Mexico during the next day or two, and the low could then develop further into a tropical depression late this weekend or early next week. They're calling for 20% over the next 48 hours, 60% over the next 5 days. So they're, again, all along the west coast of Mexico. Going to have to watch this one too. Who knows what's going to happen with that. All right, that's it for the weather today. Thank goodness. We're just past 2 days past the center of the hurricane season. We got a long way to go, folks. So, anyway. All right. Delta Airlines. Is it safe to fly today? You know, I've said all along I'd be okay with getting on a boat with what they're doing, but I didn't know about getting on an airplane. Delta Airlines conducted an interesting study. The risk of exposure to COVID-19 while traveling after all passengers test negative 72 hours in advance of your flight is less than 0.1%. That's according to a unique study that examined real-world customer data on Delta Airlines COVID-tested flight corridors between New York, JFK, Atlanta, and Italy's Fiumicino International Airport, or however you say that. The peer-reviewed study published in Mayo Clinic Proceedings showed a single COVID-19 molecular test performed within 72 hours of departure could decrease the rate of people actively infected on board a commercial aircraft to a level that is significantly below active community infection rates. For example, when the average community infection rate was at 1.1%, or about 1 in 100 people, infection rates on COVID-19 tested flights were 0.05%, or 5 in 10,000 passengers. That's pretty impressive to me. So, and I realized the airlines have done a lot on improving their air quality and all those things, and they're doing a great job on cleanliness, and maybe I'm not giving them the same credit that I'm giving the cruise industry, and maybe I should be. So, interesting study from Delta. All right, the Msc Divina. Msc Divina yesterday got its CDC approval for a conditional sailing certificate following the successful completion of a simulated cruise last week. Divina is set to depart from Port Canaveral, Florida for the first time September 16th. When she does, she will become MSC's 11th ship to resume cruises globally. With MSC Divina's restart, MSC passengers can now choose from a variety of 3, 4, and 7-night itineraries from both Miami and Port Canaveral. Following Divina's resumption, MSC Meraviglia will add 7-night cruises to the Bahamas and the Caribbean from Miami. Congratulations, MSC. Of course, I talked bad about MSC for a couple of days over the issue with Virtuoso and them not being as transparent as I'd like to see. But they've been doing it the longest of all the cruise lines. So I got to give them a little slack. But anyway, glad to have the second ship going here in the States. All right. That's Castaway Cay over there that Disney operates. Tomorrow, Disney Fantasy is scheduled to return to service with short sailings, joining sister ship Disney Dream, which has been sailing from Central Florida since early August. That's good news for Disney Cruise Line fans who are looking for longer voyages from Florida. The line announced that Port Canaveral-based Disney Fantasy would move to longer 7- and 8-night cruises starting October 9th. Disney has been operating Castaway Cay double dip sailings, giving guests consecutive days at its private island and a sea day. Royal Caribbean and Carnival have done much the same thing with Perfect Day at Coco Cay and Half Moon Cay, respectively. Fantasy will be Disney's third ship to return to service on September 11th. This summer, Disney Magic did staycation sailings from the UK. Disney Dream returned from Port Canaveral on August 9th. Disney Wonder will sail from San Diego to the Mexican Riviera starting October 1st. Disney Magic is scheduled to resume guest operations in Miami on October 28th. With the news of a restart came the cancellation of 2 prior cruises, plus several others from date changes. Disney requires all adults 12 and older to be fully vaccinated unless medically exempt. Also, all guests will be tested at the pier before embarkation, regardless of the vaccination status. Disney has teamed up with Inspire Diagnostics, a third-party partner, for testing and vaccination verification. So, Disney had to cancel a couple things. Yeah, I mean, it's all the usual cancellation stuff, but they canceled several cruises because of these date changes. Again, folks, it's everything in the cruise industry is fluid right now. Be amenable to all kinds of changes immediately. Just awesome. Anytime. From any lines. So another Disney ship sailing, good thing for us, for everybody, whether you're a Disney fan or not. Also, I heard something somewhere, maybe it was Tony yesterday, there's going to be an adult-only Disney cruise. I find that one surprising. All right. Princess Cruises' former Golden Princess has received a new name and look as she's now sailing as the Pacific Adventure. The vessel is the newest addition to P&O Cruises' Australia fleet of 3 ships and the latest to come out of dry dock. So congratulations to the former Princess Golden Princess with its new name, new look, and P&O and heading for Australia down under. That's the Carnival Pride. A couple stories back to back here. The CDC's recent update that guests must be tested 2 days before the start of a cruise has shown how difficult it can be to get tested in time for a cruise. Many guests report problems now with the guideline when the guidelines was still 3 days. This will only increase on September 13th when almost all cruise lines move to a 2-day protocol. For this reason, Carnival Cruise Line has now introduced the possibility to do a home test. Sorry about that. I had a cough. Carnival Cruise Line has introduced a possibility of a home test, which is still medically supervised. This is done through a personal virtual visit with an eMed certified guide who monitors you while performing the testing procedures. Royal Caribbean came up with a very similar thing the day before. So, if you're having trouble getting that 2-day test booked, look into the home testing procedure. I think it costs $66 or something like that. They send it right to your house. You get somebody on your computer or phone who proctors you doing the test right and getting the right thing. It takes about an hour. But Carnival is accepting the results. Now, on with the second story. Carnival Pride will sail this weekend on a series of Bahamian cruises from Baltimore, calling at Half Moon Cay, Bimini, and Freeport. The cruises, which include a full 3 days at sea, will continue until October 31st, when her last departure departs from that port. Carnival Pride will then move to Tampa and start things in Tampa, and Carnival Legend will take over Baltimore. So, a little bit more happening for Carnival. Love Baltimore. I've never sailed out of Baltimore, but I love Baltimore. Some of my favorite restaurants around Baltimore. So, all right. Welcome to Jamaica. Well, CDC is not really saying welcome to Jamaica. It's updated its level for Jamaica, another popular cruise destination in the Caribbean that follows other cruise stops that have also been elevated due to increased COVID levels. The CDC updated its travel advisory notice for Jamaica from level 3 to level 4 due to increased levels of risk. This was updated earlier in the week and now recommends that we all avoid travel to Jamaica. If you must travel to Jamaica, make sure you're fully vaccinated before you travel. Duh. Everybody on the cruise lines are fully vaccinated. What's the big deal? CDC. I guess that would be directly on the people that are going to fly directly to Jamaica and stay at a all-inclusive resort instead of a cruise ship. I don't know. You may see some ports of call being canceled now in Montego Bay or any of the ports there in Jamaica. We'll just have to wait and see how the various cruise lines handle that. All right. That's Hawaii. Princess Cruises cited operational restrictions in delaying its Hawaii restart until January. Hawaii cruises have been replaced up to and including December 22nd departures with alternative itineraries sailing from Los Angeles and San Francisco. Travelers have the option of moving to an equivalent cruise with their current fare protected or 100% future cruise credit that's refundable and may be used for any departure by December 31st, 2022, or a full refund. Passengers would still like to travel in 2021 will get $100 per person onboard credit for the first 2 people in a stateroom on a cruise departing from Los Angeles or San Francisco. So some more cruises got canceled. Now, one thing to point out. Last night, I was watching JJ Cruise doing a live stream from a hot tub, which has become one of their favorite places for a hot tub. And while they were doing the live stream, and I was in the audience enjoying it, as were about 350 people who were on that stream, the captain came over the loudspeaker to announce that they had discovered a second positive test, and explained to everybody what was going on. Completely transparent. Live to hundreds of people on the live stream as well. Celebrity has got it right, cruise lines. All of you need to follow what celebrity's doing, because the way the captain explained everything to everybody on the ship, that they discovered a second case, they'd discovered one the night before, and what they'd done and so forth. This was the second positive case, and was perfectly open and honest and forthcoming with it. And everybody said, oh, okay, the protocols are working. Let's keep going with the cruise. Hope that that's it on that. And if it's more, then so be it. Celebrity is doing it right above all the cruise lines. Just pointing that out. And I was in there listening to it live when it happened too. So, all right, let's go see who's over in the chat room and who's giving me hell today about something. I'm sure somebody is. Carol's with us. Hey, Carol, Gretchen's here. Nikki's here. Hi, y'all. Carol says that's good news from the doctor. Yeah, it was. I was pretty pleased with yesterday. I'm keeping my fingerology thing here so that I can keep checking my oxygen level at the 2.5 as opposed to 3.0. So, but that's a good sign. We'll see how I do at therapy today with less oxygen. Now, when I do the really strenuous, which to me is still the most strenuous thing, is walking. That's when I get the worst out of breath. We do kick it up to a higher level for walking any distance. So we'll see how I do with all the other stuff at PT therapy today at the lower level, or if they want me to increase it before we start. We'll just have to see how that's going to go. So, Hot Air Tom's with us. He said, good morning, Carol, Gretchen, Nikki. Who should join Larry, Daryl, and the other brother, Daryl or Mo and Curly? Emily's with us, says, hello, gang. Hey, M's up in New York, still cleaning up from the flood. I still want to know about Emily belly dancing at that Greek Orthodox church. I still have no proof of Emily belly dancing, and I want it. Emily asked how Tom's feeling today from his little surgery bout yesterday. Hot Air Tom is now Hobble Along Tom. Cindy's with us. Hello, all just joined. I missed the good news. Yeah, it was good news yesterday. I'm sailing right along. Hot Air Tom says the pain meds still have him a bit woozy. I don't have any of them. I haven't taken pain meds for 3 months now. I take Tylenol, which sucks as far as I'm concerned. All right. Tom says, my left foot is wrapped tight in a nice blue bandage and a walking boot is on. What do I do when the foot is itchy? Get a coat hanger. That's what I used to do when I had things broken and had a cast and stuff. Emily says, I don't think I'll be able to hang with you guys tomorrow. My aunt and cousin are coming over in the AM to go through her dad's salvaged items. Okay. Bad problem. Bad issue. I have no problem at all, Emily. You got to take care of family and do what you got to do. So we'll think about you. No stick, crutches, or knee scooter, says Tom. Tom said my May 5th Bliss cruise was canceled this week, along with Nikki's April cruise too, and many more. February to August 23. NCL is coming up with new itineraries for the Bliss. I'm not sure I understand why that all happened, but then I received 3 more NCL important emails. Was afraid to open them. Emily says cancel for 2023. I don't know. That's due to the changes. It wasn't too bad. Just a port change for June and July. Pearl 22, Bermuda. And August 23, Pearl to Bermuda. They dropped a sea day and returned to Boston and added Bar Harbor on all 3 cruises. Bar Harbor's not a bad stop. I don't know if you've ever been to Bar Harbor, Tom. I like Bar Harbor up there, and they got good lobster rolls and stuff that you can get right around the Bar Harbor cruise port. What about Prima for 22? Hot Air Tom says, my cruise and Nikki's were transatlantic cruises. Nikki, Miami to Barcelona, and then Bliss was going to dry dock for 2 weeks, and I was doing the return transatlantic to New York. Lots of good ports. Prima is still a go, says Hot Air Tom. Emily, I'll be watching to see what NCL does for the Bliss. Emily says, my mom has one of those finger oxygen checkers device too. Yeah, I mean, if you have oxygen issues, it's just a necessity. One thing happened last night I didn't notice it for probably an hour. I think my sister was in the room and may have stepped on my cord and pulled my tube loose from my oxygenator. And I sat there in my chair watching TV for the best part of an hour with no oxygen. I didn't know it until I was actually getting up to go over and lay down on the bed, and I saw the tube laying there on the floor, not connected. I said, oh. So I plugged it up. I didn't feel anything. Didn't notice it. Didn't get out of breath. Nothing. So I'm going to try to get out of the Greek fair this weekend. We did have dinner last night from the fair when I got back home from work. Yeah, but did you belly dance? That's what I want to know. Did you guys belly dance at the Greek fair, right? The Greek Orthodox Church, they got to have belly dancing, I think, at Greek restaurants. And that's written in the fourth book of Deuterology or someplace. Bonnie's with us. Hi, Bonnie. She's got one of those finger oxygen thingies, too. I used it when I was sick a few weeks ago. O2 level was 98%, so I figure I didn't have COVID. Yeah, wow. I never see 98, Bon. Nikki says, Tom, we're now looking at Prima, New York City to Bermuda in April 23, her birthday month. Oh, that's not bad. Bonnie says, I love Bar Harbor and Portland too. Both great ports with lots to do and see and good food, lobster rolls and whoopie pies. Yeah, of course, I'm a big fan of the lobster rolls. So, Hot Air Tom says, I'm looking at the Dawn back-to-back in May. First Southampton to Copenhagen with stops in England, Ireland, and then the Baltic on the second leg. Ooh, that would be a nice one. The Baltic will replace the Escape cruise lost this year in June. Yeah, hopefully that'll be the end of the... It'd be nice if that would be the end of all this constant changing and crap. But I'm just afraid it's not going to be, And I hope, folks, goodness, Lord knows I hope in 2 weeks you can all tell me, see there, we told you were a fool. But I'm afraid in 2 weeks we're going to see hell break loose. And I had one of my buddies was at the football game in Tampa last night, the NFL game, and it was packed. And nobody wearing masks, at least that I could see from the TV screen. And then, of course, I fell asleep before the end of the game. Didn't even see the finish, which was supposedly was pretty good. But that's me. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. I will see everybody back here tomorrow morning, except Emily, who's going to be helping family out. So, Emily, we're not expecting you tomorrow. Do take care of the family stuff and the cleanup from the flooding you guys had. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. We always appreciate thumbs up. Feel free to jump into the chat room with all these guys. They chat back and forth constantly. And I'll see everybody at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow on Saturday, Travel and Cruise Industry News. This is the old fat travel guy. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.